We simply have no way of knowing what good might ultimately come out of this terrible evil. So that I think God has more than sufficient reasons for the evil. And there's no way to dispute that. As long as it's possible, it follows there's no weaknesses. That's time.
Well, it's interesting that Dr. Craig Scott is a very inefficient being, because if the only way to bring about the founding of the state of Israel is by having 6 million Jews get sacrificed, I think that God needs to take a course in efficiency. If we talk about morally sufficient reasons, is there a morally sufficient reason for loss there? Is there a morally sufficient reason for the 3-year-old child getting a bullet in the head? Is there a morally sufficient reason for any of these things to happen? And also, is there a morally sufficient reason for gays to be put to death just because they love each other? Are we going to now say that because the Bible is a repository of morality, that we're going to go to West Hollywood and take 2 innocent gay men who happen to be engaged in physical love and execute them? If you believe in the Bible, God, that's exactly what has to happen. So if we are going to ground our morality in such a bloodthirsty being, we are in serious trouble.
We have time for only one more question. So if you have a question,
I have a question for both of you. I just want to know, is there any set of facts or amount of evidence that can falsify your beliefs? If so, can you give me a hint as to what that set of facts might be?
Could you please show the speaker's respect?
Well, you see, if evidence of the supernatural were the same as evidence of the natural, that is to say, if resurrections occurred frequently, if angels came down frequently, if this was something that we experience as an intrinsic part of our lives, like we experience sunrise, sunset, and other phenomena, that would be a different story. But what the Bible is asking us to do, and what Dr. Craig is asking us to do, is to believe in those things that have no common evidentiary manifestations, that violate the laws of nature, that are different from our everyday experiences, and say, oh, but you have to believe that 2,000 years ago they occurred, even though you're not given the chance to believe today. Well, I want a burning bush. I want a chariot in the sky. I want the Pacific Ocean to part by the Red Sea. If God's going to give the ancients miracles, then he's not being fair to me today, because as Professor Keller said in my opening statement, if people would only believe with the aid of miracles then we need them today. So I think that the fact that God does not give this as common evidence, like everything else, is something which he is wrong in withholding from rational human beings, and I am obligated then to not believe based on epistemological considerations.
Well, it was very evident that he didn't answer your question. He didn't state any conditions in which it caused him to change his view. And I think that's because of his mind was made up. This is not the voice of a seeker. This is not the voice of a heart that is open to God. This is a voice that is angry, that is close to God. What would take to falsify my belief if you could show me that there was an internal contradiction in the concept of God, say everything material on the omniscient being, that would disqualify my belief? Or with respect to Jesus, if you could show that the resurrection did not occur, if you could